Hello, Kipsters. Welcome to another day of music. So, for the last few weeks, you have been learning all about the instrument families and instruments of the orchestra. Today, you and I get to be a detective and help the music detective Maxwell solve the case of the lost orchestra. A detective is a person who solves crimes or wrongdoings. Remember that an orchestra is a large group of musicians that includes all four instrument families together that play beautiful music. Can you remember all four instrument families? Let's do a quick review because you're going to need to know all of this information in order to help Maxwell. So first, we have the woodwind family. And I am looking at each instrument in the woodwind family. I'm looking at how the bassoon is played and how each instrument is played and how it looks, because you're going to need to know all of this information to help Maxwell. So, as you can see here, the bassoon is long and it has a curved mouthpiece, which is where the musician places his or her mouth in order to make beautiful music through the instrument of the bassoon. This is the oboe. The oboe is long with a straight mouthpiece. The clarinet is long as well, and it has a wide bell on the end. The flute is played going across the mouth. Next, we have the brass instrument family, and we have the French horn that has a circle-like shape. We have the trombone that has a slide. We have the tuba that's larger than the other brass instruments. And then we have the trumpet that is very small. It's smaller than the other brass instruments. We have the string family, and all of the instruments in the string family has strings or have strings. And so we have the cello that is played between the knees. We have the string bass or double bass that is played standing up. We have the violin that looks very similar to the viola, except the viola is a little larger than the violin. And last but not least, we have the harp. And the harp, as you can see, has a lot of strings, about 46 to 47 to be exact. Last but not least, we have you got it, our percussion family. In the percussion family, we have the piano, we have the cymbals. The cymbals have a circle-like shape with handles on the outside of the instrument. The snare drum has two drumsticks, and we have the timpani, which is also called the kettle drum, that's kind of large. And then we have the triangle that is also shaped like a triangle. You got it. Now that you have reviewed all of the instrument families and its instruments, we're ready to play the game. But before we get started, if you haven't, I want you to grab a pair of shades because you and I got a lot of detective work to do. You can also pause this video to get your shades. Are you ready? Let's go. This is Maxwell, our music detective, and he is investigating. That means he is looking to solve the mysterious disappearance of the world famous New York Harmonic. The New York Harmonic is an orchestra that makes beautiful music. Maxwell wants to tell us a story. Let's see what he has to say. So Maxwell said that it all started from a call from the conductor. Remember that the conductor is the person that gives silent signals while directing the orchestra and playing their music. Anywho, the conductor called Maxwell and told him that the New York Philharmonic was playing a song from a composer. A composer is a person who writes songs. The composer's name is Franz Joseph Haydn, and the orchestra group was playing his song called Haydn's Symphony Number 94. When all of a sudden, as the orchestra played, they hit and played a fortissimo note, which means to play or sing music very loud. The loud music note scared the entire orchestra that they went running off of the stage. Can you imagine that? So now you know. This is where the problems began. Mm, mm, mm. Now Maxwell wants you and I to help him find the musicians and get them back on stage so that they can play beautiful music for the audience. And the audience is a group of people that are there to hear them play. So we gotta hurry and help Maxwell. Let's go. Now the conductor assumed that the orchestra was simply taking a break. However, he found a giant mess of scared instruments and musicians piled up behind the curtains. Wow, look at this mess. What do you see? I see some instruments that we've learned about, such as the French horn, the tuba, and I see other instruments that we've learned about. I even see the musicians, who are the people that play the instruments. What else do you see? You too? I see animals too. What in the world are the animals doing on the stage behind the curtains? Let's find out. So, before Maxwell called to help find the lost orchestra, he had to find out which instruments were in the orchestra. He also had to find out where the instruments and their families sat on stage. To do that, Maxwell needed an orchestra seating chart. This is his seating chart. In the first week of school, we learned that instrument families sit together on stage. The string family normally sits up front. The percussion family sits to the left. The woodwind family is in the middle behind the string family. And the brass instrument, come on somebody, sits on the back row. You got it. Now that you remember where the musicians and the instruments sits on stage, we can help Maxwell find the lost orchestra and help them get to their correct places on the stage. So our music detective Maxwell finally arrived to the building where he heard a giant commotion. That means a lot of noise from the orchestra and what even sounded like animals backstage because they were backstage. We just saw it. Maxwell is ready to find each instrument and put them with their instrument family and help place them in their correct seat on stage. But here's the catch, detective. The conductor was so worried and upset that he couldn't even think straight. He could only talk in code. That means he could only give a secret language to help find the instruments and their families. So you and I have to figure out the secret code in order to find the lost orchestra. Let's go. Here's our first secret code. The conductor told Maxwell that to find the smallest instrument in the string family, they sit in front. So it would be good to get them first on stage. This instrument plays the melody for Peter from Peter and the Wolf. We saw Peter and the Wolf the other day during our music lesson, so we can remember what the smallest instrument in the string family is. It is the violin. You got it, detective. Let's see. Let's click here to see if we can find the violin. Wow, look at all of this mess. It is no wonder why the orchestra is lost. Can you find the violin? Remember, it is small and it has strings. I think I see. It's here. Now, to get the violin and the musician on stage, I need to click on the violin. Voila! Wow, you and I just helped Maxwell solve his first secret code. And guess what? The viola and another musician came out on stage too. When you and I helped the violin get on the stage, the violist also remembered where she was supposed to sit on stage. Great job, detective. Now let's go to the next problem to solve our next case. Now this code says to find the instrument that looks like a big violin that is played between the knees. We already know what the violin looks like. We just have to find the instrument that looks like a violin, except it is big and it is played between the knees. Can you find it? It is the cello. I see one right here. It looks like a big violin. However, the musician is standing. Let's see if we can play the one that is played, find the instrument that is played between the knees. Oh, I think I found it. What about you? Here it is, and the instrumentalist or musician is sitting down with it between her knees. Let's help her get to the stage. Great job, detective. The cello made it back to the stage, and it is sitting on stage with this correct family, the string family. Let's help Maxwell some more. Here's our next code. This conductor code says to find the instrument in the string family that has 46 or 47 strings. Do you know what you're looking for? We're looking for an instrument in the string family that has a lot of strings. 46 or 47 to be exact. I think I found the instrument with a lot of strings. What about you? If you said the harp, you are absolutely correct. Let's click on the harp. We have the harpist get back on stage. And she then remembered where she was supposed to sit. Excellent job, detective. Let's continue reading the secret messages. This code says, find the instrument in the string family. It plays the lowest pitches in the orchestra. Can you find it? I see a very large instrument here, and it has strings. This is the double bass, and another name is the string Thanks, you got it. Let's get him on stage quickly. Great job, detective. And he is sitting with his string family. Here's the next code. Who remembers the name of the instrument that played the bird in Peter and the Wolf? If you didn't get a chance to see that video, no worries, Miss Beasley's got you covered. So the next instrument to find is in the woodwind family. It is made of metal and its melodies are high and beautiful. You can hear it play the bird in Peter and the Wolf. Do you remember that instrument? I think you're right. I think it was the bird too. Let's find out. Here is the flute. Let's see if we can find the flute because you said that the flute represented the bird. So let's find the flute. I think I got it. There's the flute, and she is sitting in her correct seat on stage. Good job, detective. Let's move on. Here's another message. After the flute, we should find another woodwind. This one is usually black, has one reed, and plays the melody for the cat in Peter and the Wolf. If you've guessed the clarinet, you are definitely correct. The clarinet represented the cat in Peter and the Wolf. Let's have the musician and the instrument, the clarinet, get back on stage. Remember that the clarinet is long and black. Do you see it? I see it. Here it is. Good job. The clarinet moves to their spot by the flute. Here's our next secret message. It says, now let's find the double reeds from the woodwind section. First, look for the smaller double reed instrument. It makes the music for the duck in Peter and the Wolf. We've not talked about single and double reeds, but no worries. I got you covered, detective. All you need to do is remember what instrument represented the duck in Peter and the Wolf. Can you remember? If you said the oboe, you are correct, my friend. Now let's find the oboe. Remember that the oboe is long like the clarinet, but its mouthpiece sticks straight. Let's find it. Here it is. Great job, detective. The oboe is sitting right in their family, in the woodwind family. Here's our next code. The conductor says that if we find this next instrument, we have all of the instruments for the woodwind family. This is a large double reed instrument, and this instrument plays the melody of Grandpa from Peter and the Wolf. If you guessed the bassoon, you are correct. Now let's find the bassoon. Remember that the bassoon is very long and it has a curved mouthpiece. Let's see if we can find it. I think I have it. Let's try it, detective. Great job. The bassoon is now with its woodwind family on stage. Here's our next code. It says, let's get an instrument from the brass family. I heard one of them warming up earlier, playing the wolf theme from Peter and the Wolf. This instrument is strange because the musician puts his hand in the bell to play. Although we have not talked about the musician putting his hand in the bell to play, we do remember what the bell part of the instrument looks like because we learned that in the first week of school. If you need remembering, remember, Miss Beasley always got you covered. We have, however, talked about the instrument that plays the wolf in Peter and the Wolf, and we have also talked about the instrument that can unwind to 12 feet long. If you had said the French horn, you are definitely correct. Let's find the French horn. Do you see an instrument that has a circle-like shape with a bell on the end? I see it. Here it is. Let's click it. Great, excellent work, detective. But wait, as the French horns entered the stage, the woodwinds shivered in fear, knowing the French horns could play some creepy or scary music. We don't want the musicians running off stage again. So let's continue helping Maxwell find the other musicians. Here's our next secret code. It's the smallest brass instrument in the brass family. It plays high, bright sounds and are especially famous for their fanfares. Fanfares are celebrations and events, and this instrument is known to play in those celebrations. Let's see if we can find the highest sounding brass instrument in the brass family. Most of you learned what that instrument was in the first week of school. If you said the trumpet, you are certainly correct, my friend. Let's find the trumpet. Do you see it? I think I see it. Here, what do you think? Let's click to find out. Great job, detective. The trumpets strutted to their spots and the woodwinds relaxed, knowing that the trumpets would keep an eye on the French horns. Let's read our next secret code. I bet you know what this one is. The next brass instrument has a slide for changing pitches or changing sound, music sound. It is a little bigger than the trumpet. If you said the trumpet, you got it. Let's see if we can find the trombone, which is the instrument with the long slide. Do you see it? I see it here. Excellent. The trombones kind of enjoyed the noise backstage, but they went to their spots when we asked them to. And the trombones got to their correct seat, which is on the back row next to the trumpet. There you go. All right, here's the next code. Now, we talked about the lowest sounding brass instrument, and it is the tuba. You got it. Let's find the tuba. Do you see it? I do. And it is right here. Excellent work, detective. We're almost done with helping the musicians get back on stage. We just have one more family to get on that stage. Do you know which instrument family it is? We've done the woodwind family, the string family, the brass family, and now we need to do the percussion family. You got it. Let's help Maxwell get them on stage. In this secret code message, it says, let's start the percussion family with a tricky one. This instrument is usually considered a percussion instrument, although it has strings. It has 88 keys. That is your hint, keys. What instrument do you think it is? Do you see any instrument with keys? Is it the timpani? Nope. The cymbals? Nope. The snare drum? Nada. What's left? You've guessed it, the piano. The piano has 88 keys, but it's not in the string family. It is in the percussion family. No one really knows how the piano ended up in the pile backstage. It took 5 people to roll it back to its spot. Can you imagine that? Phew. We're almost done, but we gotta keep going. The next code says, this percussion instrument is so small, it shares its name with a shape. In fact, the instrument has that same shape. What are our shapes? We have the square, the rectangle, and the triangle. We have other shapes as well, but for now, we'll just focus on these shapes: the square, the rectangle, and the triangle. Do you remember the name of the shape that has its name as the instrument's name? Let's look to find out. See if you can find a shape that has the instrument's name. Do you see it? I think you're right. I see a triangle-shaped instrument, and it is also called the triangle. And it is also in the percussion family. Great job, detective. The woman with the triangle was relieved to get out of there, and she ran to her spot to get from the mess from backstage. We're almost done, and the mess backstage is almost cleared up. Here's our next code. It says, next, find a really loud metal percussion instrument. It's shaped like 2 large metal plates with handles, and the musician hits them together to make a loud crash. Can you picture a plate that you eat food on having handles to hold it? Like so, smashing and making sounds? That is exactly what the cymbals do when you play it. Let's see if we can find it. I have it. Great job helping Maxwell find the cymbals. The cymbal player dropped one of the cymbals on the way to his spot. Uh-oh. It crashed so loudly, the conductor and I heard the orchestra gasp. I was afraid they might run away again, but you and I were able to calm them down because we helped him get to his correct spot. Great job, detective. We have 2 more instruments to go. The instrument is in the percussion family. It is often used in marching bands as well as in the orchestra. It has a sizzling sound when the musician hits it because of the metal chains on the underside of it. If you are someone who plays the drums, you might already know this answer. It is here, the snare drum. You got it. Great job. Are you excited that we're almost done helping all of the musicians and instruments get on stage? I know I am. You and I have been doing a great job and wonderful job helping our music detective. Here's our last and final secret code. Who remembers the sound of the hunters or the hunter's gun? Here's the secret code. It says the instrument is in the percussion family. It is sometimes called the kettle drum because it is made out of a big copper kettle. It is also called the timpani. In Peter and the Wolf, this instrument helped play the sounds of the hunters. If you said the timpani, it has two names, as I already mentioned. It also is named the kettle drum. Excellent work, detective. How many instruments do you see? I only see one left. Let's click it. Excellent job. You clicked the timpani. However, Maxwell noticed some empty chairs, and so he went backstage. Although he had all of the instruments and musicians, he was concerned that there were animals backstage. Remember, in the beginning, we saw animals, and we were wondering what are animals doing backstage? Maxwell saw the animals and he wanted to help them. So he shooed them from backstage. Once all of the musicians were back on stage, Maxwell realized a farmer and his animals had taken a wrong turn and ended up in their mess. He continued to shoo them off stage. But how many farmers have a giraffe? Have you heard of that? The giraffe belongs in the zoo. Since we have Maxwell find the lost orchestra, he helped us move all of the animals from backstage to where they belong. Now that we have helped Maxwell, he says thank you for helping him find the lost orchestra. He also says that the orchestra was able to play Franz Joseph Haydn's song called the Surprise Symphony Number 94. You know, it was the song that they played at the beginning before they ran off stage. But this time they did run off stage. The New York Philharmonic Orchestra played their song beautifully, and the audience enjoyed it so much. Great work, detective. I've enjoyed detecting and solving the case of the lost orchestra. The end. Bye-bye.